Well, okay, I hope you can hear me. I'm trying some new stuff here with the Dubcast. Um Thinking about doing the new podcast that myself and my buddy Cody are doing, thinking about taking it live on YouTube. Probably going to use open broadcasting software because I don't want to if I don't have a two camera setup, I don't want it to have cameras because it would only be on me or only on him, and I don't have the capabilities to do that yet. So we're probably just going to do it to where I can just put up like a static image, and anytime I watch a video, I could play a video and we could talk about it, and you guys could see it too. So I'm just because I use Verizon 4G, uh, and I'm grandfathered in on unlimited data. So, but the only downside is that while it is fast enough to watch some Netflix and some YouTube and pretty much do all that type of stuff, when the upload's not that great, so I don't know how it's going to work out, how it's going to look. I doubt anybody. Well, I can see, of course, nobody's watching right now because I didn't really tell anybody I was doing this. So I'll probably not get any viewers, so it probably won't even matter. I guess I'll just wait and see what the video looks like later to see if there were any hiccups or anything like that. So I guess I'll talk about some stuff while I'm here, might as well. Let's see. I was watching some atheist videos on YouTube earlier, which I do from time to time, because I am one. And a lot of people, they have an issue with that word atheist. And the thing about it is, it just means it's just a denial of a belief. You will say you are a believer, and you tell me that you love Jesus and he loves you back, and there's a God, and there just has to be a God. And I'm like, well, okay. I mean, I don't see any reason to believe that. That makes me an atheist. But there are so many people out there that will just say they're agnostic, and you say, well, do you actively believe that there's a God? And most of the time we'll say, well, we can't prove that. And I'm like, I'm not asking you if you know. I'm asking you if you actively believe that there's a God. Do you right now at this very moment, if I asked you, hey, is there a God, would you say, yes, I believe there is? Or no, I don't believe there's enough evidence. If you say, no, I don't believe there's enough evidence, you're an atheist. You're also an agnostic, which is what most atheists are. Because look, this has been talked about by atheists on the internet and on YouTube ad nauseum. I know anybody that's watching this now or in the future are going to know the answer to this, but a lot of people just don't. They don't seem to understand. And one thing I noticed earlier watching some of these videos is a lot of people they go with the same stuff over and over. The same questions, the same statements and misconceptions about atheism and agnosticism. And it's stuff that's been debunked a million times over. A simple Google search in like 10 seconds on Google, most of your questions as a Christian or a Muslim or any religion, most of your arguments can easily be found within just a few seconds on Google, and you can get an answer to it. And they're all pretty much universal answers. And I've noticed one thing they'll do a lot is, no matter how many times you explain to them what the word atheist means, atheist just means I don't believe you. I don't believe your claim of a God existing. I'm not saying a God doesn't exist. I'm not saying I have proof for not believing in a God, because, again, I don't know. And I'm not the type of person that's just going to say, well, I don't know, so the answer must be God. That's not satisfiable to me. If I don't know, I don't know. I'm not gonna postulate. Is that the right word? I'm not gonna just put an answer in there. I'm not just gonna put God in there just because it makes me feel better. Because not because not knowing means we could possibly find out someday. We could possibly find out for sure. And that's a lot more exciting, in my opinion. So yeah, it's just a misunderstanding, but at the same time, I feel like it's, like I said, one of those things where so many times it's been proven, or not even proven, just like the arguments and the questions that they usually have been answered, or they've been debunked, they've been refuted. And like a good example is Ray Comfort. If you don't know who that is, look him up. He has been in countless debates with atheists and other people of different faiths than him, or belief structures, or ideologies, or whatever you want to call it. And he always comes with the same exact arguments, even though, like, he's been shot down a million times over. Like the whole banana thing. He talks about how banana's perfectly shaped and it has a, perfectly shaped for the hand, and which honestly I think makes a pretty good case for homosexuality at the same time, because he's pretty much saying, this banana, fits perfectly in your hand. And, we all know what pretty much every guy thinks when they see a chick eating a banana. I can't imagine it's much different for a gay dude seeing another gay dude eat a banana. I would just imagine. So, but yeah, and he talks about how it's got the tab on it, and well, see, that's all fine and good, and yeah, I get that it looks like it could be designed that way, but this has been debunked. This has been explained to him thousands of times. Bananas, as we know them now, are not the way wild bananas are. Wild bananas are practically inedible. True wild bananas are nasty. Like, they're horrid. Like, they don't even really resemble, and they definitely don't taste as good. So they are a man-made food. We cultivated them over years, just like we did with dogs and stuff. We made them fit to our specific needs. Bananas are awesome. They're my favorite fruit, but God or whatever didn't design them that way, didn't make them that way. So that's just one example. The whole transitional fossils argument is another one. Again, it's been debunked. It's been shot down a million times, but the same people come with it every time they get in some kind of debate. They bring it up. They're like, we've already covered this. Like, I mean, I guess if you don't accept the answer, that's one thing. But I mean, I think scientists that devote their lives to figuring this stuff out probably know a little bit better than you do. And you should probably just lay the argument down at this point. Yeah. So, but yeah, the whole atheist confusion thing, like they ask you why is atheism true? Well, that doesn't make sense. That's a nonsensical question. Let me think of an analogy. Why is atheism true? It's like, why do you not collect stamps? Like, or no, I said that wrong. What is it? Having a hobby of not collecting stamps, like I make it a purpose, like just to not collect them, like it's just a nonsensical thing. You're basically saying, why is it true that you don't believe in God? Well, it's true because I haven't seen any evidence. That's the answer to that question. And that's why that question is nonsensical, because atheism itself is just a response to theism. Theism, or being a theist, means you believe in a God. Might be the Christian God, might be the Muslim God, and some will say those gods are all the same God, with just different interpretations. Fine, whatever. But if you believe in a God, not that you believe there is a God, that you can prove it, not that you think it's true, but if you just believe with your fiber of your being that there is a God out there, then you're a theist. Now, you can be an agnostic theist, and I would say if you're intellectually honest with yourself and everybody else, then you probably are an agnostic theist, which means that you believe there's a God, but you don't know. There could be, there couldn't be, but right now you're just going to choose. Well, not choose, because I don't belief is a choice, but you're going to believe that there's a God because whatever reasons you have. But you're not going to say that with 100% certainty. So you're an agnostic theist. Just like I'm an agnostic atheist. It's not a bad word. It just means you don't agree. Pretty much. It's not a way of life. It's not a belief structure. It's just a response to a claim that a God exists. I don't believe you. Show me some evidence and I might change my mind. Look, I was a pretty devoted Christian for the first 18 years of my life. I was very close to joining the ministry. Matter of fact, I pretty much did join it. I led Sunday schools for younger kids. I led church camps for younger kids. I did all kinds of stuff. I was going to become a youth minister at one point, and it was because of that I read my Bible like I was instructed to. But the funny thing is, when your fellow preachers and other people in the church, leaders in the church, tell you to read your Bible, what they really mean is read these things that we want you to read. Don't read the whole thing. They might tell you to, but they don't really mean that. They mean read the good passages that we all agree are awesome, but don't read this other stuff about what the Bible has to say about rape and slavery and genocide and all these things. And don't read that stuff. And if you do, just realize that it was a different point in time and all this stuff. But yeah, anyway, so I read it from front to back. And I didn't just read it like I would read any other book. When I got to something that I was like, hey, that's fucking weird, I stopped and I read it again. And luckily, by that time, the internet had just started. Like it was like 1999 or whatever. The internet had just got going. So there were some decent references out there. So I looked up some stuff. And then, of course, there were some things that I was just like, well, that ain't right. Like the whole slavery thing. That's, I mean, I can't even, I remember reading that for the first time. And it was like, I think the first instance, or one of the first instances while reading that, the Old Testament, when I had to just stop and say, wait, did I just say what I think it said? Did this fucking verse just tell me what I can do? What is it? 6 days? As long as they don't, or no, I can beat them for 6 days. I can beat the crap out of them. And if they don't die within 6 or 7 days, then it's all good. And God's all good with it. It's not murder because, you didn't kill them. You just beat them within an inch of their life. But hey, they lived. So it's all good. They can keep being your slave. And if they mess up again, you can do it again. And there's these rules for enslaving Hebrews and indentured servitude, which, again, that's one of the excuses they'll give. Like, well, it was more like indentured servitude. They had a debt they couldn't pay off or whatever. They needed some place to live or these things. And it's like, still give them a job and pay them. It's still slavery either way. So, but yeah, I really just wanted to talk about that whole atheist, just the word itself. But like I said, I studied it and I got to the end of the book and I didn't stop believing right at that moment. It was a gradual process because, I stewed over the stuff that I read for a little while. And eventually I was just like, you know what? I really want to believe, but if this is the God that I'm supposed to be believing in, he doesn't seem like a good dude to me. And at the same time, it's just also far-fetched. Like the Noah's Ark and Jonah and is Jonah and the whale or big fish or whatever the hell they want to call it. The plagues and I mean, pretty much all of the Jesus stuff. And the thing, I mean, I don't really want to get into all this. I just wanted to talk about the word atheist itself. But like I said, I'm just kind of rambling right now. But yeah, it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean you have this belief structure. I don't think Christians are stupid. I don't think they're bad people. I think a lot of them are seriously delusioned. I think they were raised up, indoctrinated in this belief structure, and they really, it's been ingrained in them. Because look, it was ingrained in me too. And you get to this point where it just doesn't seem like anything else is viable. Like there's no way that there could not be a God. There's no way until you start reading, until you start doing some research, until you start hearing the arguments for and against. And you're like, well, I mean, and there's like studies that talk about how there's kid, like they did this study of a bunch of kids somewhere where certain kids were not exposed to religion when they were real young and other kids were. And the kids that weren't exposed to religion were better at determining what was fiction and what was not fiction. So in other words, the kids that weren't raised religious, you could go up to them like, hey, there was a story about this big flood and this dude built a boat and he got 2 of every kind of animal in the whole world on the boat. And right there they go, hold up. You know, you're telling me this guy got animals from all. So like these kids, not saying that they're smarter or anything. It's just a matter of being able to pick out bullshit pretty much. And it doesn't have to be the Bible. Like you could show them like Santa Claus. They were like, come on, Santa Claus, really? This guy's going to come down the chimney and shit and eat some cookies and leave me some presents, you know? So yeah, it's indoctrination, which is sickens me at this point. When I was in it, I thought it was the way you were supposed to do it. And that's another thing. People, I've had friends that reason that since they were raised in church, that you know, the kids just have to have a religion. They have to believe in something. Like it instills morals in them. And I just want to be like, look, if there's anything I've learned since I've been an atheist for the past 16 years or 15 years, it's that you can be a perfectly moral person. I mean, nobody's perfect. I mean, by any stretch of the matter, but you can have a good moral system and never know anything about religion. It's possible. But for some reason, people really get it in their head, even non-religious people, even fellow atheists that have kids are like, man, I've got to get my kids in church. They've got to have this moral compass. You know, you got to believe in something. Like, well, you don't believe in anything, you know, so why would you? And again, if I had kids, I wouldn't force them to think the way I think. If they want to go to church, go to church. That's fine. But I'm going to make sure they know the difference between fantasy and reality. That's just how it's going to be. I'm not going to suggest that they go to church. But if they come home one day and say, hey, Billy's parents invited us to go to church this Sunday, can we go? Yeah, sure. Why not? But I might be compelled to be like, look, this church stuff, it's all fun and good. You know, you could learn some cool stuff, but understand that it's probably just stories. You know, I'm not telling you can't believe. I'm not telling you can't buy into it, but, you know, just understand that, you know, if you got a pretty good, I would imagine that my child would have a pretty good understanding, a pretty good grasp on reality. So I'm like, you know, understand when you go in there that you're probably going to hear some things that you're going to be like, that doesn't make sense. But I'm explaining it does make sense to some people. But you know, how do you explain that to a kid? I don't know. But I wouldn't try to keep them from it, is what I'm saying. But I also wouldn't try to put them into it either. So I don't know. It's just, like I said, I just wanted to address the question, what does atheist mean? Because people seem to think that atheist means that you say there is no God, or you know, and some do. Some atheists do say there is no God. But even those that I've met or seen that say that will also say that, you know what, I don't know that for a fact, but with the evidence I've looked at and the evidence that's been presented, it seems more likely to me that there's no God. Again, not a definitive answer to them, relative to just their brain. There is no God. I feel the same way, but I wouldn't say no, there's not, because we don't have all the knowledge in the universe, you know. And speaking of the universe, that's another thing. It's a big fucking place. Like, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's, I mean, 99% of the universe we haven't even, probably 99.99% of the universe we haven't even seen. Like, there's so much out there. And that's the thing. Like, if there is this Christian God, did he just pick this one planet out of the vastness to do his little experiment on, and the rest of it's just dead space? All the planets are just there floating, like even the planets way out there that we can't get to are just there empty, waiting for him to build another society? Or did he make each one individually with their own Bible and their own belief structures? Is it some kind of massive experimentation? I mean, you could go on and on, but the bottom line is there's no definitive answer on that. And there may never be. That's one of the things that I've always thought, even when I was a Christian. I don't think man was meant to know the answer to that. If there is a ultimate higher power, some kind of being like that, some kind of ultimate meaning to life, I don't think we were meant to know it. I think it's something if there is an afterlife, it's probably something you find out when you die. Or there's nothing, you know, just like before you were born, you don't remember anything from then. You know, after you're gone, you're not going to remember anything past that point. You're going to cease to be. I'm cool with that. I mean, it kind of sucks because, I mean, look, I'm getting older. I mean, I'm not old. I'm 33 years old, but I'm also in terrible shape. So I could, you know, be pretty close. I'm trying to fix it. I'm drinking more water and 0 calorie type things. I also got an orange juice here just because I was craving orange juice. But for the most part, I've been drinking mostly water and trying to be as active as I possibly can. But at the same time, you know, like, who knows what damage has already been done. So there's movies coming out that I want to see. You know, DC and Marvel have got their movie schedule lined up all the way through 2020 or something like that. I want to see all these movies, you know? And at this point, I mean, at least if I make it to Batman v Superman and Justice League, I think I'll be happy. But I want to see them all. I want to experience things. I'd be immortal if I could. But that's another topic for another day. So anyways, yes, I've already done the openly secular video on my channel, but here's another one, I guess, since I'm just trying this broadcasting thing out. I am openly secular. I'm a secular humanist. I'm an egalitarian. I believe humans are humans and we all should be treated equally and we all should treat each other equally. I think the reason I have morals in regards to being a secular humanist is because it's just better for society. Society doesn't progress if we're killing each other. Society doesn't progress if we're raping each other, if, you know, for acting crazy. You know, it holds back progression. So that's why you can be a moral atheist, pretty much. That's all you need, is to just the desire to see this experiment of evolution and whatever else you would want to call it succeed, to progress. Just treat people good, treat yourself good, or as good as I do, even though I treat myself like shit, but still I treat other people with respect. And that's pretty much it. You know, peace, love, and brown acid and shit like that. But anyways, I'm tired. It's about, well, it's not even my bedtime. Usually I don't go to bed till like 6 in the morning, but it's midnight and I feel like I'm about to pass out. So I think I'm going to do that. Anyways, however many minutes into this, I don't see I don't see a counter. Okay, I don't see a counter, but however many minutes I am into this and still 0 viewers. So I imagine all my 42 subscribers are probably asleep right now, as I'm about to be. But again, this was just a test. I didn't tell anybody it was doing it. Oh, Periscope. Look me up on Periscope. Tony Dubz. Same as on Twitter and all that good stuff. So I've been doing some of that stuff. I plan to do some more. Yeah, so I guess maybe if this works out this Wednesday night, we'll actually be doing a live podcast on YouTube. So, Cody, I hope you're ready, buddy. Again, probably not going to be on camera, but there will be some video and some commentary and some other chit chat going on. So yeah, I guess that's it. This is another vlog for the books. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to get off my chest. Supposedly there's a new Mortal Kombat movie being made. I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah, I got nothing. Good night. Thanks for watching. Dubcast Digital 2015. Reign is supreme. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. Peace.